Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created this really simple but I think very effective handmade Christmas card. You don't need much to make this, a few different pieces of cardboard, some watercolour paper. Most importantly you need a glass of your favourite tipple. In my case it's ginger wine at this time of year. But just before I enjoy my glass of wine, I'm going to use the rim of the glass to create a perfectly circular shape. I'm using gold metallic paint, any brand of gold metallic or any shade, even silver will do, and I'm complementing that lovely gold with indigo. This is my piece of watercolour paper. I'm simply pressing the rim onto the paper. You can see that it's transferred or printed the gold and indigo circle onto the page, and that gives me the perfect basis for my Christmas bauble. I now just need a brush with a reasonably good point, one that holds a fair amount of water, and while that circle is still wet, I'm just going to touch into it with a bit of water to get some of that paint to flow. I used fairly rich paint, as you can see, to print my circle, and now I can dip into more of the indigo and more of the gold, and where I've got a wet page now, those colours are going to wet blend. I'm going to be really careful to try and preserve some different values. I want some areas on this Christmas bauble that are much lighter than others, some to be quite dark, some to be mid-value, and to keep a good separation between the gold and the indigo. And that should just work out to give me a really effective rounded shape that gleams in the light because of this lovely metallic gold paint. I started off using a size 2 quill brush, which got me my sort of broader strokes of colour and water into this wet in wet bauble, and I'm using a smaller detail brush just to fill in the edges. And now, while it's still wet, I'm spattering some of the indigo and the gold lightly across the bauble with my fan brush. This will add texture where the spatter drops hit the wet paint and keep nice crisp patterning of dots on the background, which will just look really pretty. And now I'm just using the shape of this flat brush just to drag down a small rectangle. I haven't got enough water on my brush. I need to just wet that a little bit more. But I'm being careful because I don't want a really strong mark, but using the shape of the brush to create a brush stroke that just gives me that sort of the top of the bauble, and then just a fine rendering of the string coming out of the bauble. For that I want a sort of nice fine straight line, so I'm going to be using my rigger brush, and I've done that in gold. And I'm thinking that I've nearly done with this first stage, but I'm going to use the rim of my glass again, and with those same colours just put in a few overlapping partial and full circles. And for the first stage of this Christmas card design, I think I'm just about there. Just before the paint in the bauble dries, I'm going to drop in a little extra dark indigo because it does tend to dry back quite a bit lighter. I want to keep that nice contrast on the left side, which helps to emphasise the brightness of the gold on the right. Just before we get into the second half of the demo, a quick reminder that if you're looking for Christmas gifts for yourself or for creative friends, our books, Landscapes in Watercolour and Flowers in Watercolour, are available to purchase from all good bookstores. Landscapes is available worldwide, Flowers in the UK, but you can pre-order it from elsewhere in the world. Right, let's get back to the demo. While the bauble painting is drying, I'll show you the rest of the equipment that I've got. And it comprises really of these silicone stamps in the shape of ferns and kind of asemic writing. So it just looks like writing but with nothing legible. I'm using this gold ink pad which you can buy these really cheaply from craft stores. And you can use any stamps that you've got. I'm going to be using this, as I say, this one just has kind of nonsense writing, but it looks really attractive. I like the background effects that it makes. And my fern pattern stamps I really like. I don't have the stockist for these. I'm sorry, I purchased them on eBay a couple of years ago. But of course, I'm only using these because I've got them. You can use any stamps you've got, anything floral, anything interesting, anything festive and Christmassy would make a great background, great additions to the cards. I've got a couple of paint brushes, including this lovely rigger brush. And of course, if you don't have any stamps, you can paint the designs on yourself as well. I've got tissue for mopping up, and because the stamping can be a bit messy, I've just got some protective gloves to keep my hands clean while I'm doing the stamping. So, as I said just now, use any stamps that you've got or paint some extra detail in yourself using the fine rigger brush. So I'm going to dip the corner of my writing stamp, just the corner, onto the stamp pad, because I'm not going to stamp the whole thing, and I'm going to use the corner at the top left of the bauble and put in a little bit of writing there. You can see everything showing through, the rings that I've printed with the rim of the glass, as well as the bauble itself. And now just a couple of ferns, I think, around the base of this, and that should just give enough interest once I trim the card down to the right size to look quite pretty. So I'm following the shape of the bauble, holding it over the areas where I think it might look nice until I'm happy with its positioning. I don't mind if it doesn't stamp evenly. That gives a nice sort of distressed look to the card as well. Pressing it down again for a slightly fainter impression of the top of that stamp just at the top. And then I'll print another impression over on this side, and hopefully you can see how pretty that looks. Obviously it's sort of a bit lost in that large piece of paper, so once I've spattered a few sort of spatter drops of gold and indigo over the top, just to give that extra little patterning and finish to it, then I'll leave it all to dry completely. And once it's completely dry, I'll make it into a card. So here's the dry design. You can, of course, buy ready-made card blanks to create your cards, or just take a piece of cardboard in a contrasting colour, fold it in half, as I have done here with this lovely brown craft paper, and then trim the painting to the right size, glue it onto the paper with a glue stick or craft glue, and then I've used a ruler and a fine liner pen to draw a black border around the edge of the painting, which I think gives it that really nice finishing touch. Well, I really hope that you've enjoyed watching me create this card. Of course, if you don't have stamps, then the bauble by itself, with all that lovely spatter detail, would make a perfect card as well. So many thanks for watching. Please leave us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And thank you so much to everybody that supports us on Patreon. I'll see you again soon. Take care and happy painting. Bye.